Hi guys, welcome to the CATWay. So in this video, we are going to solve a set of the day. And before moving ahead, do not forget to like, share, and subscribe. So let us move towards our set. So it says that four boys B1, B2, B3, and B4, and four girls G1, G2, G3, and G4 are sitting along two sides of a rectangular table, such that all the boys sit on the same side of the table, and all the girls sit on the opposite side of the table, and each boy faces one girl. Now it says that B1 and B2 cannot be seated together, while G3 is facing B2. Okay, so we'll write this info that G3 is facing B2, and it also said G2 is facing B4. Okay, so these are the two conditions that we have been given. Also, B1 and B2 cannot be seated together. Okay, B1, B2, this is not possible. Cool. Chalo, let's move ahead. So we can directly move towards the questions now. So it says the first question says that if G4 is seated facing B3. Okay, so we have been said that G4 for the first question, if we talk about, it says that G4 is sitting opposite B3. That means what it makes clear is that G1 is sitting opposite B1. Okay, in this case, G1 is sitting opposite B1. Okay, so G1 is not at the end of the row. So this is G1. Okay, G1 is not at the end of the row. Okay. So what do we have? Four people here, four people over here. Okay. Then which of the following statements must be true? Okay. Now, if you see, guys, what we know is that G1, sorry, it says, yeah, G1 is not sitting at the end. That means what is clear is that B1 is not sitting at the end. Okay. So there are two possible cases in which B1 is in this position, and in that case, B2 can acquire this position. Or a second case comes up in which B1 is in this position, whereas B2 is in this position. Okay. Now, similarly, in front of B1, there's G1, and in front of B2, there's G3. Okay. So here will be G3, here will be G1. Okay. Now, what we are left with? Now we are left with in terms of girls, we are left with G4 as well as G2. Okay. So no certain information as where they are sitting is given to us. So let us move ahead. So it says, first one says that G1 is the only one seated between G2 and G4. Okay. Now that is perfectly fine, because if in both the cases, if you see, whatever comes here, G2 or G4, okay, here also G2 or G4 can come. And here also G2 and G4 can come. Whereas here also G2 can be there or G4 can be there. Here also G2 can be there or G4 can be there. Okay. So the first statement is perfectly right, that G1 is the only one seated between G2 and G4. Talk about any of the case. Okay, G1 is the one bit that is sitting between G2 and G4. So the correct answer for this question is option number 1. However, let's look at the other options as well. So G1 and G3 are seated together. Definitely not. They have a person sitting between them in both the cases. G3 is not at the end of the row. We can see that this case is perfectly fine. This case is perfectly fine. And we can see G3 is at the end of the row. Coming to the fourth question point, it says that B3 is the only one seated between B1 and B2. Now again, we are left with to be seated with B3 and B4, but either B3 can come here or B3 can also come here. That is not an issue. Okay, so this statement is partially true. Okay, it cannot be definitely true. It might be true. It is not definitely true. Okay, here we are definitely true. That is must be true. So that means for this question, the correct answer is option number A. Chalo. Let us move towards the second question then. Let me remove this data. All right, guys. So let's move towards the second question. In how many distinct ways the 8 children can be seated? Okay, the second question says that how many distinct ways the 8 children must be seated. All right. So we have what? We have 4 positions, right? We have 4 positions for the boys. Now for B1 and B2, we know they are not going to sit together. Okay, so there are 3 possibilities for B1 and B2. Either it could be this, okay, or it could be this, or it could be this. Okay, so these are the 3 possible cases in which B1 and B2 can sit together. Okay. Now, apart from this, guys, there are again similar ways in which B1 and B2 can interchange their positions. Okay, there are similar ways in which B1 and B2 can interchange their position. That is basically what I'm trying to say is, talking about the first case, it could be the case that B2 is sitting over here and B1 is sitting over here. Okay, this could also be the case. So, okay, so this is another aspect. So whatever number of cases we find from here, we'll just double it to get the correct answer. Okay, let's move ahead. So there are 3 cases that have been formed. Okay, now what do we have is, see, talking about B3 and B4. Okay, talking about B3 and B4. So B3 and B4 can interchange their position. Okay, B3 and B4 can interchange their position in all these cases. Okay, so talking about this particular case, if you see, there are two cases into this. Okay, there are two cases into this. There are two cases into this. There are two cases into this. Okay, because B3 and B4 can interchangeably sit anywhere. Okay, so initially where we began with three cases. Now for every case, we have two more cases. Okay, so those two cases are done. All right. Chalo. Still, again, talking about this particular case only, we know that two people are fixed. That is, G3 is going to sit opposite B2. Okay, that is fixed. And G3 is going to sit opposite B2 and G2 is going to sit opposite B4. Okay. However, we are still left with G1 and G4. Now, talking about the same case. Now, in one case, in front of B1, there can be G2. Okay, sorry, in front of B1 there can be G1, or in front of B1 there can be G4. So again, in this case, we have come up with two more cases. Similarly, in all these cases, we'll come up with two more cases where in one case, B1 in front of B1 there is G1, and in second case in front of B1 there is G4. So again, two cases. So these are all the possible number of cases that we have. Okay, and apart from that, I initially told you that we'll double the whatever number of cases we find over here. Why will we double it? Because B1 and B2 can also interchangeably sit, and those are the two cases extra in every case that will be formed. Okay, so the total number of cases that we can get is going to be equal to 24. Okay, now hope this is clear. So the correct answer for this question is going to be 24. Chalo. Let's move ahead to the third question. Just a second, guys. Let me remove it. All right, guys. So coming to the third question, what do we have if B4 is sitting diagonally opposite to G4? So we have four people. Okay. If B4 is sitting diagonally opposite to G4, then which of the following statement is false? It is asking. Chalo, ठीक है. So let's start. What do we have? Okay. If B4 is sitting diagonally opposite. So it is talking about diagonally opposite. Okay, it is talking about diagonally opposite. That means either G4 is here and B4 is over here. Okay, or the second case could be where B4 is here and G4 is over here. Okay, so these are the two cases that we actually have initially have. Okay, so in both these cases, G2 would be over here, G2 would be over here. Okay, now this is done. Now talking about B1 and B2, they're definitely not going to occupy these positions. All right. Also, B2 cannot occupy this position over here, and B2 cannot occupy this position over here. That means what makes it certain that B2 is going to sit in any of these two places, B2 is going to sit in any of these two places. Okay. That means wherever he is going to sit. See, now if he sits over here, let's say B2 sits over here, or let's say B2 sits over here. Okay, B2 sits over here. Now there's no position for B1 to go. Okay, B1 cannot go in this position, B1 cannot go in this position because they're not seated together. So definitely B2 cannot be the person sitting over here. B2 also cannot be sitting over here. B2 cannot be sitting over here. In this case, so that means B2 is going to sit over here. And in this case, B2 couldn't sit over here or over here. Okay, so that means B2 is going to sit over here. Now in front of B2, what do we have? We have G3. In front of B2, what do we have is G3. Okay, that means G1 is going to sit over here. Okay, G1 is going to sit over here. All right. Chalo, G1 is going to sit over here. Now the only place possible for B1 is going to be this. The only place possible for B1 is going to be this. Okay, that means here B3 will be occupying. B3 will be occupying over here. Both these cases are same only, just the positioning is different. Okay, so we have solved the set. Let's find out the third answer. So it says B3 is opposite, exactly opposite to. Okay, I guess I missed something, no problem. So B3 is exactly opposite to, let's say we will come to it. Okay, let's check option B. So option B says B1 is diagonally opposite to G2. B1 is diagonally opposite to G2. That is perfectly fine. So option B cannot be the false statement over here. Come to option number C. It says that G3 and G4 are adjacent to each other. We see G3 and G4 are not adjacent to each other. That means option number C is the one that is false. Okay. Talk about option D, B2 and B3 are adjacent to each other. That is true in both the cases. B2 and B3 are adjacent to each other. So with this, guys, the set is complete. And for the CAT course, you can log on to catway.in to get more info, and you can contact us on 8447 296 249. Hope you have understood the set well, guys. Thanks for watching the video.